One of the funniest things about Peppa's World is the countless mistakes that happen throughout the stories. Are you ready to laugh a lot with the funniest errors in the Little Pig show?
Let's go!
Outfit. Did you know Peppa can change clothes at the speed of light? I mean, if that's not it, then it just means the creators of the cartoon made a really funny mistake. In Peppa's story about the sibling war, we see our main character watching her favorite music video. But if you pay attention, you'll see she's wearing an outfit a little different from the one we're used to. Notice that the little pig is wearing red shoes, a skirt with white stars, and a t-shirt with a yellow flower on it. That outfit is definitely not normal for our main character, right? But in the very next scene, when the pig family is having lunch, she's back to wearing her plain red dress that everybody knows. That's a pretty big mistake because Daddy Pig says it's time to eat, and then Peppa runs to the kitchen, meaning she had no time to change her clothes. Did the creators really not notice the little pig changing dresses? We're gonna find out about this and much more on today's list. Grab your popcorn, another Cinewave is starting now. The doors. And did you know that in Peppa's World, doors change color when no one's looking? Yes, it's true, and in the swimming pool episode, this magic trick happens. Or wait, was it magic or just another really funny mistake? On a hot day, the pig family decided to go swimming at the town's pool, which was a great idea, but they didn't realize that the bathroom doors change color. At the beginning of the episode, we see the order of the doors from left to right: blue, green, yellow, and finally the red door. But look at how weird it gets by the end of the story. The doors are switched around. Now they're red, yellow, green, and blue. That makes no sense at all. The only explanations for this are either, in Peppa's World, doors actually change color or the animators messed up while drawing. What do you think about that? The moon. In the Princess Peppa episode, we see something super weird. The moon completely changes places. But you might be thinking, wait a minute, the moon really does move and that's normal. Okay, that's true, but not the way it happens in Peppa's World. In the story, when Granny Pig is walking into the grandkids' room, we see the moon on one side of the window, but a second later it's on the other side. The funniest part is that this happens right when Granny Pig steps on a rubber duck and wakes up the grandkids who were sleeping. Did the moon wake up too and decide to move? And if you think that's all there is to this mistake, think again, because in the very same scene the moon goes right back to where it was as soon as Granny Pig starts telling a story. The photo. In Peppa's story about funny pictures, we see our main character taking a few photos with her phone. But there's a strange mistake in the image. If you look closely at the picture she takes of her parents, you'll see that background is a yellow wall with a calendar hanging on it, and next to that there's a picture of the whole pig family together. But when the little pig goes to print the photos, the whole background changes. In the photo, Daddy and Mommy Pig are standing in front of a green wall. It's almost like Peppa changed the picture on purpose for some reason. Weird, right? What do you think about that? The trees. In the episode Playing Ball, Peppa and George are playing in the yard until their friends show up to join the fun. So far, nothing strange, but then things change. Danny Dog comes up with the idea of playing soccer in a field where 4 trees could serve as the goalposts. On one side we see red fruit, and on the other side blue fruit hanging from the branches. But when Rebecca Rabbit grabs the ball with her hands to score a point, the fruit on the trees just disappears. What could have happened? Would you like to play soccer with Peppa? Comment #pig so we can invite you to the team. Susie. There's a mistake in Peppa Pig that makes you kind of embarrassed. The day Susie decided to show up at gym class with no clothes on. Yes, it was a huge shock, but relax, it's just an animation mistake. In the gym class episode, Peppa's class goes to learn exercises with Grandpa Rabbit, but Madame Gazelle asks all the students to wear white gym uniforms. The problem is, Susie is already a character with that same color, and when you look at her like that, it's impossible not to think the little sheep is completely, well, you get it. Of course, this was just a mistake in the animation, but it was funny. The cat. Another mistake happens in the episode Emily Elephant, when we meet this character for the very first time. It all starts when the kids are walking into Madame Gazelle's school, but let's pay close attention to the way they enter the classroom. The first one is Peppa, followed by Rebecca Rabbit, third is Danny, and then Pedro. Only after that do the girls Susie and Zoe walk in. And lastly, the one who walks into the school is Candy Cat. But here's the weird part. Inside the classroom, Candy shows up right after Peppa, as if she were the second character to enter the building. But that makes no sense, since 5 of her friends had already walked into the school before her. Could the little cat really run that fast? Sunscreen. In the episode A Very Hot Day, the pig family decided to play with water in their backyard. But when they changed into something more comfortable, Mummy Pig showed that she apparently knows a few magic tricks. The mom of the family is wearing a bikini. That's fine since it was an extremely hot day. But then, out of nowhere, she pulls out a bottle of sunscreen that wasn't anywhere to be seen. Her bikini doesn't have pockets. That kind of clothing usually has no space for anything, and when she walked out of the house there was nothing in her hands. So, did Peppa's mom cast some kind of spell to make the bottle appear out of nowhere? The hose. But the mistakes in this episode don't stop there. When they go to hook up the hose to a faucet right next to the pig family's front door, hold on a second. You know there's no faucet on that wall, right? With more than 300 episodes of Peppa Pig, you must have seen the entrance of that house thousands of times, and there was never a faucet there. In this very same episode, at the beginning of the story, we can clearly see there's no faucet in that part of the house. And the funny thing is, it's Mummy Pig who hooks up the hose. Did she make that faucet appear the same way she made the sunscreen bottle appear? The boat. In the episode Desert Island, there's a mistake that's kind of hard to notice, but we're gonna show you. When Grandpa Pig, Grandpa Rabbit, and Grandpa Dog go on a fishing trip out to sea, they decide to use Grandpa Rabbit's boat. This boat has a lever that's used to start the engine, but when the scene changes and the characters are already in the middle of the ocean, that lever completely disappears. Did it fall into the sea? That's possible, since the boat wasn't in great condition. But it was definitely a mistake, because later in the episode, we see that the lever is right back in its place. Weird, right? You know what's not weird at all? Subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell. Again. But maybe it was done on purpose as a joke, because at the end of this story, when Daddy Dog goes to rescue the three grandpas, he uses his own boat. But check out how the creators of the cartoon repeat the same mistakes here. When Daddy Dog steps into his boat, there's a lever right next to him. But when they arrive at the desert island and meet their friends, that same piece has disappeared again. Seems like the creators of Peppa Pig really have something against levers. What do you think? Theater. Do you like theater? Peppa loves it. Too bad her friends can't stop messing up the show by switching seats. On the day they went to see Mr. Potato's performance, we spot a brown cat sitting next to Freddy Fox. But when the scene changes, that character is sitting in the row in front. Funny enough, he shows up right next to Claire Cow, a character who's kind of a mystery in the series. Was the cat just trying to make friends with her? The mistake in this episode goes on when we look at the two boys sitting next to Freddy in this scene. When Pedro asks to go to the bathroom, we see that the two seats next to Freddy, which had been occupied, are suddenly empty. That's a pretty hilarious mistake in the cartoon, don't you think? The giraffe. There's an episode called Carnival, where the whole town gathers to celebrate, dance, and sing. It's a lot of fun. At the beginning of the story, we see Gerald Giraffe hanging out on the streets with his friends. But when a music float drives by in the middle of the street, that same character is suddenly playing the guitar. And that would already be a mistake on its own, but it gets even worse when we look at the crowd again, and Gerald Giraffe is also standing on the sidewalk next to his mom, watching the parade. That's strange. Wasn't he supposed to be on the float or standing on the sidewalk watching the celebration? Madame Gazelle. There's a super weird mistake in the episode Madame Gazelle's house. One day, Peppa went with her family to visit the school teacher, and when they stepped inside, something strange happened. Peppa and George slid down as if they were on a slide. This happened because there's a big tree outside pushing the house to one side. But when they get to another part of the house, the floor is tilted in the opposite direction. That's a huge mistake, because if the house is being pushed to one side, then the whole building should be leaning the same way. It makes no sense for one floor to slope to the left and another to the right. But since Madame Gazelle is such a mysterious character, maybe her house is haunted. The museum. In the Science Museum episode, we see something really funny happen with a painting. When the story starts, there's an artwork showing a green apple and a pear right next to the stairs. But as we get closer, the painting disappears from where it should be. And then, when Miss Rabbit walks a little further, the painting reappears on the other side of the room, right next to the blue vase. And when they walk a little more, the very same painting is back on the wall again. But is this picture moving around by itself, or are there 3 copies of it? Whatever the truth is, we're gonna find out, so you better stick with us. We've got 2 more videos lined up for you to enjoy. See you in the next episode, and until next time.